The morning started like any other Tuesday. I kissed my kids goodbye and drove to the office where I had worked for 8 years. I loved my job at the insurance company. I was good at helping people when they needed it most. But when I walked through those familiar glass doors, my boss was waiting. His face looked serious and sad. "MaryAnn, we need to talk," he said quietly. My heart started beating fast. I followed him to his office, my hands shaking. He sat behind his big wooden desk and looked at me with tired eyes. "I'm sorry, MaryAnn. The company is cutting costs. We have to let you go." The words hit me like a truck. 8 years of hard work. 8 years of being early every day, staying late, missing some of my kids' games because I was dedicated to this job. But why me? I asked, my voice breaking. "It's nothing personal. You're a great worker. It's just business." They gave me a cardboard box and 15 minutes to pack my things. That was it. 8 years reduced to one small box. Subscribe for more powerful revenge stories. Like, comment and share your location. I sat in my car in the parking lot, staring at the box of my belongings. My coffee mug with "World's Best Mom" that my daughter Emma had given me. A small plant I had kept on my desk. Pictures of my children, Tommy and Emma, smiling at the camera. How would I tell my husband Kevin? How would I tell the kids? We needed my paycheck. Kevin's job at the warehouse didn't pay enough for all our bills. I drove home slowly, practicing what I would say. Maybe Kevin would be understanding. Maybe he would hug me and tell me everything would be okay. Maybe we would figure it out together. But when I pulled into our driveway, I saw something that made my stomach drop. Kevin's car was there, but so was another car I recognized. It belonged to my best friend Stephanie. I sat in my car for a moment, trying to think of innocent reasons why Stephanie would be at my house in the middle of the day. Maybe she was dropping something off. Maybe she needed help with something. But deep in my heart, I knew something was very wrong. I used my key to open the front door quietly. The house felt different somehow. There were voices coming from upstairs, Kevin's voice and Stephanie's voice. They were laughing about something. I climbed the stairs, each step feeling heavier than the last. My hands were shaking as I reached the top. Our bedroom door was partly open. What I saw broke my heart into a million pieces. Kevin and Stephanie were together in my bed. In the bed where I slept every night. In the room where I got dressed every morning before going to work. They didn't see me at first. I stood there frozen, not knowing what to do. Then Kevin turned and saw me standing in the doorway. His face went white. "MaryAnn. I can explain. Get out," I whispered. "MaryAnn, please, let me get out," I screamed. Stephanie grabbed her clothes and ran past me without looking at my face. I heard her car start and drive away quickly. Kevin sat on the edge of our bed, putting on his shirt. "MaryAnn, I'm sorry you had to find out this way." "This way?" Like there was a good way to find out your husband was cheating with your best friend. Watching our revenge stories? Show love, subscribe, like and tell us where you're from. How long? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Kevin couldn't look at me. 6 months. 6 months. While I was working hard every day, trying to provide for our family, he was betraying me. While I was making dinner, helping with homework, being a good wife and mother, he was lying to me every single day. "I want you out," I said. "MaryAnn, we need to talk about this. Think about the kids. Think about the kids. You should have thought about them before you decided to destroy our family." Kevin stood up and walked toward me. "You're never here anyway. You're always working late or worried about work. Stephanie makes me feel alive again." His words felt like knives in my chest. I had worked hard to help our family. I had sacrificed so much to make sure we had enough money, and now he was blaming me for it. "I lost my job today," I said quietly. Kevin stopped. What? I lost my job today. I came home to tell my husband, hoping he would support me. Instead, I find him in bed with my best friend. For a moment, Kevin looked guilty. But then his face changed. Kevin's face became cold and mean. All the love I thought I saw there for 12 years was gone. He looked at me like I was a stranger he didn't like. Maybe this is for the best, he said. Maybe losing your job is a sign that you need to change. What do you mean? You're not the woman I married, MaryAnn. You've become boring and tired. All you do is work and worry. Stephanie is fun and exciting. She makes me laugh. Each word felt like a punch to my stomach. This was the man I had loved since I was 20. The man I had children with. The man I had planned to grow old with. I want the kids, he said suddenly. What? I want custody of Tommy and Emma. They'll be better off with me and Stephanie. You're too focused on work. You're not really present for them anyway. You can't be serious. Kevin walked to our closet and started pulling out clothes. I'm taking the kids to Stephanie's house tonight. You can figure out what you want to do. You can't take my children. He turned to face me, and his words were the cruelest thing anyone had ever said to me. You're a failure, MaryAnn. As a wife, as a mother, as everything. The kids deserve better than a broken woman who can't even keep a job. Watching our revenge stories? Show love, subscribe, like and tell us where you're from. I stood in our bedroom doorway, watching Kevin pack his clothes. Everything was happening too fast. This morning I had a job, a husband, and a family. Now I had nothing. Kevin, please, I tried one more time. Don't take the children. We can work this out. He didn't even look at me. There's nothing to work out. I'm done pretending to be happy. I heard the front door open. Tommy and Emma were home from school. My heart broke thinking about what they were about to face. Mom? Emma called from downstairs. Whose car is in the driveway? Kevin looked at me. Are you going to tell them, or should I? I couldn't speak. How do you tell your children that their world is about to fall apart? Kevin went downstairs. I followed, feeling like I was walking to my own funeral. Tommy, who was 12, looked confused. Emma, who was 9, ran to hug me. Mom, why do you look sad? Kevin cleared his throat. Kids, I need to tell you something important. Your mom and I are getting divorced. You're going to come live with me for a while. What? Tommy's voice cracked. Emma started crying. Why? What happened? I wanted to say something, but no words would come out. It's complicated, kids, Kevin said, putting his hand on Tommy's shoulder. Sometimes adults just can't stay married anymore. But I want you to know that we both love you very much. Emma ran to me and hugged my legs. I don't want you and Daddy to get divorced. I knelt down and held her close, breathing in the smell of her hair. She smelled like strawberry shampoo and childhood innocence. Mommy loves you so much, I whispered in her ear. Tommy stood there looking angry and confused. Is this why you've been working so much? Because you and Dad were fighting? No, baby. This isn't your fault or because of work. Sometimes grown-up things happen that kids can't understand. Kevin was getting impatient. Kids, go pack some clothes. We're staying at a friend's house tonight. Can Mom come too? Emma asked. Kevin and I looked at each other. His eyes were cold. Not tonight, sweetheart. As my children went upstairs to pack, I felt like I was dying inside. In one day, I had lost my job, my husband, my best friend, and now my children were leaving me. 20 minutes later, they came downstairs with their backpacks and small suitcases. Watching our revenge stories? Show love, subscribe, like and tell us where you're from. Emma hugged me tight before leaving. Will I see you tomorrow, Mommy? Of course, baby. Daddy and I will figure out a schedule. But Kevin shook his head. Let's give it a few days, MaryAnn. The kids need time to adjust. Tommy looked back at me as they walked to the car. Mom, are you okay? I forced a smile. I'll be fine, honey. Take care of your sister. I stood in my doorway and watched my husband drive away with my children. The house felt immediately empty and cold. I walked back inside and looked around. Everything was still there. The family photos, the kids' drawings on the refrigerator, Tommy's soccer trophies on the shelf. But it all felt fake now, like I was looking at someone else's life. I sat on my couch and tried to cry, but no tears came. I was beyond crying. I was beyond feeling anything. The phone rang. It was my sister Claire. Hey, MaryAnn. How was your day? I almost laughed. How was my day? I lost everything I cared about in 8 hours. Not good, Claire. What happened? Kevin left me. He took the kids. And I lost my job. Silence on the other end. Oh my God, MaryAnn. All of that happened today? All of that happened today. Come over. You shouldn't be alone right now. But I didn't want to go to Claire's house and pretend everything would be okay. I didn't want to hear that things happened for a reason or that I was better off without Kevin. I need some time alone, I told her. MaryAnn, that's not a good idea. You're in shock. I'll call you tomorrow. I hung up before she could argue with me. The house was so quiet I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. I walked into the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. Emma's drawings were held up with magnets. Pictures of our family when we were happy. When everything made sense. I pulled down a drawing Emma had made last week. It showed our family holding hands in front of our house. She had written, "My family," at the top in purple crayon. That's when the tears finally came. I cried until my chest hurt. I cried until my eyes were swollen. I cried until I had no tears left. Then I did something I had never done before in my life. I left my house and started walking. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay in that empty house for one more minute. It was getting dark, and the air was cool. I walked through my neighborhood, past houses where families were probably sitting down for dinner together. Where husbands and wives were asking each other about their days. Where children were safe and loved. I kept walking until I reached the main street. Cars drove past me, their headlights lighting up the road. Everyone had somewhere to go except me. I found myself standing in front of a small diner I had never noticed before. The sign said Rita's Place in faded letters. Warm yellow light glowed through the windows. My stomach was empty, but I wasn't hungry. I just needed somewhere to sit that wasn't my empty house. I pushed open the glass door and a bell chimed. The place smelled like coffee and bacon. There were only a few customers scattered around the red vinyl booths. A waitress with kind eyes smiled at me. Sit anywhere you'd like, honey. I chose a booth in the back corner, away from everyone else. The waitress brought me a menu and a cup of coffee without me asking. Rough day? She asked gently. I nodded, not trusting my voice. Food helps, she said and walked away. I sat staring into my coffee cup, watching the steam rise up and disappear. My reflection in the dark liquid looked like a stranger. A broken, tired woman I didn't recognize. Kevin's words kept playing in my head. You're a failure, MaryAnn. As a wife, as a mother, as everything. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was so focused on work that I forgot how to be a good wife. Maybe my children would be better off with Kevin and Stephanie. I was so lost in these dark thoughts that I didn't notice when someone slid into the booth across from me. You look like someone who's carrying the weight of the world. I looked up to see an old man with gray hair and kind eyes. He was probably in his 70s, wearing a clean but worn jacket. His hands were folded on the table in front of him. I'm sorry, do I know you? I asked. No, but I know that look. I've worn it myself. He paused. My name is Walter. Walter Kane. MaryAnn, I said quietly. Walter nodded. MaryAnn. That's a strong name. Your parents chose well. I almost smiled despite everything. It was my grandmother's name. She must have been a strong woman too. She was. She raised 6 children by herself after my grandfather died. And now here you are, her granddaughter, facing your own battle. Something about the way he said it made me look at him more carefully. What do you mean? Walter's eyes seemed to see right through me. I mean that strength runs in families, even when we can't feel it ourselves. I don't feel strong right now, I admitted. Tell me what happened. I don't know why, but something about Walter made me feel safe. Maybe it was because he was a stranger and had no reason to judge me. Maybe it was because I desperately needed someone to listen. I lost my job today. When I came home to tell my husband, I found him with my best friend. In our bed. The words came out in a rush. He's taking our children. He says I'm a failure. Walter listened without interrupting. His face didn't change, but I could see something in his eyes, understanding, maybe even anger on my behalf. He took your children tonight? Yes. He said they'd be better off without me. That I'm too focused on work to be a good mother. And what do you think? The question caught me off guard. What do you mean? Do you think you're a bad mother? I thought about all the nights I had stayed up when Emma had nightmares. All the times I had helped Tommy with his homework. The way they ran to hug me when I came home from work. No, I said quietly. I love my children more than anything in the world. Then why are you sitting here instead of fighting for them? Walter's question hit me hard. Why was I sitting here feeling sorry for myself instead of fighting for my children? Because maybe Kevin is right, I said. Maybe they are better off without me. I couldn't even keep my husband happy. I couldn't keep my job. What kind of mother does that make me? Walter leaned forward. It makes you human. It makes you a woman who has faced betrayal and loss in the same day and is still sitting here breathing. Barely breathing. But breathing nonetheless. Walter's voice was firm. Can I tell you a story, MaryAnn? I nodded. 30 years ago, I had a daughter. Beautiful girl, smart as a whip, with her mother's eyes and my stubborn streak. Her name was Lucy. Walter paused and looked out the window. Lucy's mother left us when Lucy was 8. Just like your husband, she said I wasn't good enough. Said Lucy would be better off with her new family. What did you do? I believed her. I let them take Lucy because I thought a little girl needed her mother more than her father. I thought I was doing the right thing by stepping aside. Walter's voice got quieter. I saw Lucy maybe 6 times a year after that. Birthdays, holidays if I was lucky. She grew up without me. Do you regret it? Every single day for 30 years. Walter looked directly into my eyes. Lucy is married now with children of her own. Do you know what she told me last year? I shook my head. She said, Dad, why didn't you fight for me? Why did you let Mom take me away? I needed you, and you just disappeared. My heart ached for both Walter and his daughter. I told her the same thing you're telling yourself right now. That she was better off without me. That her mother was right about me being inadequate. What did Lucy say? She said, I didn't need you to be perfect, Dad. I just needed you to be there. I needed you to fight for me because that's what parents do. Walter reached across the table and touched my hand gently. MaryAnn, your children don't need you to be perfect. They don't need you to have the best job or the perfect marriage. They need you to be their mother. They need you to fight for them. But Kevin said. Kevin is trying to justify his own actions by making you believe you're not good enough. Don't let someone who betrayed you define your worth as a mother. I felt something stirring inside me. Something I thought had died when I watched my children leave with Kevin. But how do I fight him? He has lawyers' money, Stephanie to help with the kids. Walter smiled for the first time since he'd sat down. Walter's smile wasn't mean or mocking. It was the smile of someone who understood exactly what I was going through. MaryAnn, can I ask you something? Of course. When your children were babies and they woke up crying in the middle of the night, who did they want? Me, I said without hesitation. They always wanted me. When Tommy scraped his knee learning to ride his bike, who did he run to? Me. When Emma had her first day of school and was scared, who held her hand? I did. Walter nodded. And do you think all of that stops mattering because your husband betrayed you? Do you think your children's love for you disappears because you lost your job? I felt tears starting again, but these were different tears. Not tears of despair, but tears of recognition. They need me, I whispered. Yes, they do. And you need them. Walter leaned closer, and his voice became intense and serious. MaryAnn, I'm going to tell you something that I wish someone had told me 30 years ago. 5 words that could save you from making the same mistake I made. He paused, making sure I was listening carefully. Don't let him win everything. Those 5 words hit me like lightning. Don't let him win everything. Don't let him win everything. I repeated Walter's words, and each time I said them, I felt stronger. Kevin already won, I said. He got Stephanie. He has the kids. I lost my job. What's left to fight for? Walter's eyes blazed. Everything that matters. Your relationship with your children. Your right to be their mother. Your chance to show them that you don't give up when things get hard. But I don't have money for lawyers. I don't have anywhere to take them. I don't even have a job. So what? Do you think love requires a perfect bank account? Do you think being a good mother requires having everything figured out? Walter was getting passionate, and his intensity was infectious. My daughter Lucy grew up thinking I didn't care enough to fight for her. She spent 30 years wondering if she was worth fighting for. Is that what you want for Tommy and Emma? No, I said firmly. Never. Then you need to go get them tonight. You need to tell them that no matter what happens with the divorce, you will always be their mother. You will always fight for them. I thought about Emma crying as she packed her little suitcase. I thought about Tommy's confused and angry face. Kevin said to give it a few days. Kevin doesn't get to decide when you see your own children. Walter was right. Kevin didn't get to decide when I could see my children. He wasn't a judge. He wasn't the law. He was just a man who had cheated on his wife and was now trying to control everything. Where did he take them? Walter asked. Stephanie's house. She lives about 20 minutes from here. Do you know the address? I nodded. I had been to Stephanie's house many times when I thought she was my friend. Back when I trusted her with my secrets. Back when I had no idea she was S. They know the difference between a parent who cares and one who's playing games. Walter reached into his wallet and pulled out an old photograph. It showed a little girl with pigtails sitting on a man's shoulders. Both were smiling huge smiles. This is Lucy when she was Emma's age, he said softly. Look at how she's looking at me in this picture. Like I'm her hero. Like nothing in the world could hurt her as long as I was there. She looks so happy. She was. We both were. And you know what the saddest part is? She would have kept looking at me like that if I had fought for her. I stared at the photograph of Walter and Lucy. In that moment, I could see my own children's faces. The way Emma looked at me when I tucked her in at night. The way Tommy came to me for help with problems he couldn't solve alone. Walter was right. They loved me. And love doesn't disappear in one day just because their father says terrible things about their mother. I stood up from the booth. I'm going to go get my children. Walter smiled, and this time it was a proud smile. Now you're talking like the granddaughter of a strong woman. What if Kevin won't let me see them? Then you stand on that porch and call their names until they hear you. You tell them you love them and that you're not giving up. You make sure they know their mother is a fighter. I reached for my purse, but Walter shook his head. This coffee is on me. Consider it an investment in a mother who's about to save her relationship with her children. Walter, I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me. Just promise me something. What? Promise me you won't let him win everything. Promise me you'll fight not just tonight, but every day until your children know without a doubt that their mother loves them more than anything in this world. I promise. Walter nodded. Then go. They're waiting for you. The drive to Stephanie's house felt like the longest 20 minutes of my life. My hands were shaking as I gripped the steering wheel, but for the first time all day, they weren't shaking from fear. They were shaking from determination. Walter's words played in my head like a battle song, don't let him win everything. I pulled into Stephanie's driveway behind Kevin's car. The lights were on in the living room, and I could see shadows moving inside. My children were in there, probably confused and scared, wondering why their whole world had changed in one day. I sat in my car for a moment, gathering my courage. Then I remembered Walter's photograph of Lucy, and I remembered the way my own children looked at me with love and trust. I got out of the car and walked to the front door. My heart was pounding, but I knocked firmly. Stephanie answered the door. Her face went white when she saw me. MaryAnn. What are you doing here? I'm here to see my children. Kevin said you were going to wait a few days. Kevin doesn't make that decision. I'm their mother. I heard Emma's voice from inside the house. Is that Mommy? Yes, baby, it's Mommy. I called out. Emma came running to the door and threw her arms around my waist. Mommy. I was hoping you would come. Emma's hug gave me all the strength I needed. I held her tight and looked over her head at Stephanie. I need to talk to my children. Stephanie stepped back reluctantly. Kevin appeared behind her, looking angry. MaryAnn, what are you doing here? We agreed you would give the kids space. No, you decided that. I never agreed to it. Tommy came down the stairs, moving slowly. Mom? Hi, baby. I came to see you and Emma. Kevin stepped forward. This isn't a good time. The kids are already settled in for the night. It's 8 o'clock, Kevin. They don't go to bed until 9. Emma was still holding on to me tightly. Mommy, are you staying here too? No, sweetheart. Mommy has her own house. But I want you to know something very important. I knelt down so I was at Emma's eye level. Tommy came closer, looking curious. I want you both to know that no matter what happens between your daddy and me, I will always be your mother. I will always love you more than anything in the whole world. And I will never, ever give up on you. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I don't want you and Daddy to get divorced. I know, baby. Sometimes grown-up things happen that we don't want. But my love for you will never change. Tommy crossed his arms. Dad says you're too busy with work to take care of us. Tommy's words hurt, but I could see the confusion in his eyes. He was 12 years old, trying to make sense of adult problems. Tommy, come sit with me, I said, sitting on Stephanie's couch. Emma climbed onto my lap immediately. Tommy hesitated, then sat next to me. I want to tell you both the truth, okay? Sometimes I did work late, and I'm sorry if that made you feel like work was more important than you. But do you know why I worked so hard? Why? Emma asked. Because I wanted to make sure our family had everything we needed. I wanted to make sure you could play soccer, Tommy, and take art classes, Emma. I wanted to make sure we had a nice house and good food and clothes. But Dad says, Tommy started. Your dad is angry with me right now, and sometimes when people are angry, They say things that aren't completely true. Kevin started to interrupt, but I held up my hand. Tommy, do you remember last month when you were scared about your math test? Yeah. Who stayed up with you until midnight helping you study? You did. And Emma, who made your Halloween costume by hand because you wanted to be a butterfly? You did, Mommy. And who reads to you every night before bed? You do, they both said together. I hugged them both close. That's who I really am. I'm the mom who loves you so much that I would do anything for you. Kevin's face was getting red. MaryAnn, you're confusing them. I'm telling them the truth. Something you should try. Kids, why don't you go upstairs for a few minutes? Stephanie said quietly. No, I said firmly. They've heard enough half-truths today. They deserve to hear everything. I looked at Kevin directly. Do you want to tell them why you're really getting divorced, or should I? Kevin's eyes went wide. MaryAnn, don't. Don't what? Tell them that their father has been lying to their mother for 6 months? That he was sleeping with Mommy's best friend while I was working to support our family? MaryAnn. Kevin shouted. Tommy looked confused. What does that mean? It means your father broke his promise to me. When people get married, they promise to love only each other. Your father broke that promise. Emma started crying. I held her closer. But here's what I want you to know, I continued. Even though your father broke his promise to me, that doesn't change how much I love you. That doesn't change that I will always be your mother. Kevin looked desperate. Kids, your mother is making this sound worse than it is. Am I, Kevin? Did you or did you not spend 6 months lying to me? Did you or did you not tell me I was a failure as a mother? Tommy stood up suddenly. Dad, did you really say Mom was a bad mom? Kevin couldn't look at Tommy. I was angry, son. I said things I didn't mean. But you did mean them, I said sadly. You meant them when you took the children away from me tonight. You meant them when you told me I was a failure. Emma climbed down from my lap and walked over to Kevin. Daddy, Mom isn't a bad mom. She makes the best pancakes and she always knows when I'm sad. She helps me with my homework even when she's tired, Tommy added. Kevin's face crumpled. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. But then I remembered Walter's words, don't let him win everything. Kevin, I want my children to come home with me tonight. No way. We already discussed this. We didn't discuss anything. You made demands, and I was too shocked to fight back. But I'm not shocked anymore. I stood up and looked at my children. Tommy and Emma, I want you to know that you can choose where you want to sleep tonight. If you want to stay here with your dad, that's okay. If you want to come home with me, that's okay too. Emma didn't hesitate. I want to go home with you, Mommy. Tommy looked torn. But Dad needs us too. Your dad will still be your dad no matter where you sleep tonight, I said gently. But I need you to know that your mom is not giving up. Your mom is going to fight to stay in your life every single day. Tommy looked at Kevin, then at me. I want to go home too. Kevin looked devastated as the children gathered their things. This isn't over, MaryAnn. You're right. It's not over. But it's not going the way you planned either. Stephanie had been quiet through the whole confrontation. As we were leaving, she caught my arm. MaryAnn, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't change anything, but I am sorry. I looked at the woman who had been my best friend for 5 years. The woman I had trusted with my secrets, my fears, my hopes. The woman who had betrayed me in the worst possible way. You're right, Stephanie. It doesn't change anything. In the car, Emma fell asleep almost immediately, exhausted from the emotional day. Tommy sat in the front seat, unusually quiet. Mom, he said as we pulled into our driveway. Yeah, honey. Are you going to be okay? My heart broke a little. My 12-year-old son was worried about taking care of me. Tommy, It's not your job to worry about me being okay. It's my job to make sure you and Emma are okay. But what if Dad tries to take us away again? Then I'll fight for you again. And again. As many times as it takes. Promise? I promise. Your mom is stronger than I knew. As we walked into our house, it felt different than when I had left it. It felt like home again. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of Emma and Tommy making breakfast downstairs. I could hear them talking and laughing, and it was the most beautiful sound in the world. I got dressed and went to join them. Emma had made toast, slightly burned, and Tommy had scrambled eggs, a little rubbery, but it was perfect. "We made you breakfast, Mom," Emma said proudly. "It's the most wonderful breakfast I've ever had," I said, and I meant it. Later that week, after I had called a lawyer and started looking for a new job, I went back to Rita's place. I wanted to thank Walter for giving me the strength to fight for my children. But when I asked the waitress about him, she looked confused. "Walter Kane? I don't know anyone by that name, honey. He was here Tuesday night. Older man, gray hair, very kind eyes." She shook her head. "I worked Tuesday night. I don't remember seeing anyone like that. I sat in the same booth where Walter had sat across from me. Had I imagined him? Had my desperate mind created exactly the person I needed to hear from? It didn't matter. Real or not, Walter had given me the most important gift anyone had ever given me, the courage to fight for my children. I whispered to the empty booth, "Thank you, Walter." I didn't let him win everything. Outside, Emma and Tommy were waiting in the car, ready to start our new life together. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more powerful narratives, and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what part hit you the hardest. Thanks for watching.